business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. Which P are you going to go with? It's about showing with a servant's heart every deal, every decision, and every day. Today's guest is going to light you up. He's lit me up already. And you're going to be motivated. You're going to be challenged. And most importantly, you're going to walk away with the tools that inspire action, both in your life, how cool is that, and in your professional life. But before we dive in, here's your homework. How are you going to serve yourself and serve others today if it doesn't have to be a big impact? Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game for your family and friends. So lean in, take notes. Let's discover how servant leadership in business and life can create ripple effects that last far beyond that bottom line. Hey, and a quick shout out to my sponsor, Epic Impact, the 4-step storytelling framework that's transformed how I pitch, post, and podcast. If you're a coach, founder, or creative trying to connect with your audience and move them to take action, this is your secret weapon. Engage, persuade, inspire, and close. I use it every day, and man, does it work. AI alone can't tell your story, but paired with the proven Epic framework, it can move mountains. So you can grab your free Epic Impact Starter Kit at epicimpact.com and start engaging hearts, persuading minds, and inspiring action with every message and make that impact. And real quick, I'm excited to announce we're top 6 in small business marketing, and we just got an award last week. My guest today and all you guests and wonderful audience, I want to thank you all for helping us make an impact in the world and continue doing that. So God bless all of you. With that being said, we're going to jump in with my guest. Mo, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Hi, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
You got this book. I'm going to start with a book. I don't usually do that, but the title, and I didn't tell you before the show, but really caught my eye, The Inside Out Entrepreneur. If I did an AI image, I could see this goofy, gross-looking picture, but give me a better perspective what the book's about.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I'll share some context first behind the book, because the book comes from my own experience and my own story becoming an entrepreneur or transitioning from being a techie, working at big companies like Microsoft and Amazon. And I just decided I got the entrepreneurial bug and I decided to become an entrepreneur. I read a lot of books and I talked to lots of say, advisors about business and how to build a startup. And I thought that I'm ready. But when I started my company or my startup, I started to make one mistake after the other. Almost everything that my advisors were telling me not to do, I was doing. And I was asking, I scratched my head midway and I was saying, what the hell is happening? Why is that? Why it looked to me like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think of the negative stuff that is happening to me or that could happen to me, and it actually happens to me. And I realized midway with the help of some mentors that it's not about learning how to sell or build a product or to do the marketing. The mindset is your biggest asset, and your perspective about the startup and that whole journey is the key to your success, not only as an entrepreneur in your startup, it's in life in general. It's an unforgiving journey. You're not being challenged the way you're being challenged in a startup. You're not going to face something similar to it. And the way that I think of it is like climbing a mountain. If you talk to any mountaineer, no matter how experienced they are, they would tell you before you start the journey, you need to condition yourself the right way, physically, mentally, emotionally, and maybe spiritually, given whatever you care about, so that you can withstand, the toughness of the journey, because it's a very, very, as I said, forgiving journey, and it's tough for that. And hence, actually, I came midway with that framework. How do you really condition yourself internally across different dimensions? It made a huge difference for me. And then when I talk to other entrepreneurs, I realize it's a common problem. Most of the books in business and entrepreneurship specifically focus on the mechanics of it. How do you build a startup? How do you do the marketing? How do you do the fundraising? But not the psychology part of it. And I said, you know what? I need to share that framework with others. That what worked with me probably is going to work with other entrepreneurs. And I started sharing it as just, I would say, a simple framework. And I started working with entrepreneurs and said, I'm going to write the book. So that's the whole story behind it. And that's why
Yeah.
the book actually is full of stories, from almost failing multiple times and running out of money to how my wife reacted when we had a failed acquisition and she thought that just everything is collapsing. And, thankfully we were able to get out of it full of stories around that. And how do you really manage the turns and the ups and downs of any startup?
And it's interesting, that story is common thread nowadays in this world, what you just talked about. So if you're listening out there thinking about that, we're going to talk more and you're going to get his contact info to reach out. You're in tech, you just mentioned all the tech that you're involved. Some people, or more people are scared of tech. Should they be?
No, absolutely not. I mean, tech at the end of the day is a tool to provide the value, right? To maximize the value to your customers. And there's also one other thing that changed my perspective. When I started, I thought that I need to be very strong in technology. This is what's going to make a change. But in reality, it's the other way around. Tech is here to solve real world problems. If you understand people, if you understand their problems, and you know about the technology will become the tool that would improve their lives. And that's a big, definitely shift or transition for me when I moved again from big companies to startup. It might look intuitive. It might sound that, okay, I mean, that's normal. You would build technology for that. But in big companies, you have your own lane and someone else already thought about that. But when
Yeah.
you have to think holistically about the problem, the potential solution, how can I get the technology to serve that? How do I mobilize my employees and my team to build it the right way? How do I present it to my customers the right way? If you master the art of bringing all of that together, that's very powerful.
God, it is. It is really powerful. And people listening to that, people come up to me, I want to be an entrepreneur. And I like what you said earlier. This is no roses and fun stuff. There's going to be challenges for everybody. But what's one piece of advice you give an entrepreneur that wants to launch their business?
Yeah. There are two things that would differentiate you. Um, your mindset and your speed of making decisions.
Mm.
And if you lose those two, or you do not nurture them, you're going to lose the game. Let's just break it down. If you think of funding, no matter how much funding you get, those enterprise companies that are potentially your competitors probably have more money. If it's about people, they definitely have smart people as you and the team that you hire. If it's about market insight, they even might have more market insight. They even have more customers initially to start with than you. But the only thing that they don't have because of their size is the speed. And if you're not able to move fast, then as I mentioned, you're going to lose. You're going to just become one of them. And it's very related, it's highly related to mindset. And I'll share a story. Let me actually share a couple of stories. Okay.
Great.
6 months into my startup, we raised pre-seed money around $500,000-$600,000. We developed the first version of our product. We were running our product on AWS, Amazon Web Services. They gave us a credit of $100,000. Last time I checked, we had more than $50,000. And then 3 weeks after that point, I was entering into the venue of a conference where we were about to demonstrate our product. 0 customers yet. And we were, now it's a big moment. But as I was entering the venue, I got an email from AWS telling us, you owe us $65,000 because you consumed everything, all your credits, and you even exceeded that. And we had back then at the bank less than $75,000, and you need to pay us in 2 weeks. Now, that was the first, I would say, test in how I see things and how I deal with, crisis in business. And because I was green, new to that whole thing, I was only focused on the product and the technology. It took me almost 4 weeks to bring myself together and make a decision and know what needed to be done. By the way, what needed to be done for that whole thing is easy. All what I did is I said, you know what? I just picked up the phone. I called my friend at Google. I told them, can you give me credits like what AWS did? They did. We ported everything to Google. And then I got into relaxed negotiation with AWS to pay them their money. It's relatively simple, but because I did not have the right mindset, I did not have the resiliency and robustness that anyone should have, an entrepreneur should have, and deal with that situation properly. It took me 4 weeks. And by the way, during those 4 weeks, we consumed more resources and we owed them even more. Now, so take a snapshot or have just this in mind. Now, 4 years forward, company grew. We had customers, we raised more money, everything was good. A company approached us and said, we're interested in buying you. Okay, let's do the due diligence. They interviewed my engineers. They looked at our bank statements. They reviewed our code, everything. They knew everything about us. And we were about to sign the deal. Just 2 hours before signing, 2 hours, literally, they backed off. Why? Because another company approached them and they decided to buy them, and they cannot buy us because we're considered a material change to their business. So they said, we cannot buy you anymore. So they put us under the bus. Now, after this happened after 4 years, 4.5 years throughout that journey, I developed some resiliency and I had the right perspective and mindset. It was tough for me the first 2 hours, but after that, I picked up the phone, called a few friends. They interviewed me to a few other CEOs, and I told them, there's another company that is interested to buy me. Are you interested? They said, yes, we're interested. And by the end of the same week, I was already meeting 5 other CEOs talking about the potentially buying my company. You see, that's the difference. How the mindset is related to how fast you make your decisions. You may know the right stuff, but because you're not in the right space or right position, or you do not have the right perspective, you do not see the right decision, or you see it, but you cannot make it.
Yeah.
And then you lose time, and then you lose your competitive advantage. That would make a huge difference for you as an entrepreneur. Develop that, and I would say impossible would be nothing, truly, in that case.
Yeah. Speed of decisions. I've never heard that before. I wrote it down. Audience, hope you wrote it down, because the other lesson that you said, which is powerful, I want to highlight, is for 2 hours, you woe is me. We're human. We're not perfect. We're going to be emotionally. I mean, I would be. I get goosebumps listening to your story. Like, oh my God, it's not even happening to me. To realize that, but you said after 2 hours, okay, momentum in our business. My partner and me talk about energy and momentum. That's up here.
Yep.
That's not going walking. That's in your mind, like speed of decision. I love that. And mental resilience. How do people build that as entrepreneurs?
Now, that's a great question. Now, let's break it down. What does it mean? First of all, because I come from engineering background, I actually researched that. What does it mean to build a resilient system? Okay. Now, a resilient system is a system that withstands pressure. So let's say you're building a bridge, and you want to say this is a resilient bridge. So when you have a really heavy truck, you're just walking over it, that bridge will not get broken. It can get bent a bit in a way that would just make it adapt with that pressure. And then when that truck goes out the other side, it goes back to the original form, right? That's the resiliency in engineering. Now in mindset, or when you think of your mind and entrepreneurship in general, it's the same thing. Your mindset is how you design your mind and how you intentionally have the right tendency towards things in the world. So for example, if you have a positive mindset about people and everything around you, and you're walking downtown New York, and someone tells you, hey, good morning, what's the first thing they're going to come to? Good morning, all right? And you're going to smile in their face. If you have something that is different, negative a bit, you think that people are just trying to make use of you, when someone says that, you're going to say, no, thank you, or you're not going to even respond. You're not going to even smile. That's the mindset. That's just in very simple terms, right? And we do not have a single mindset. We're dynamic creatures, so definitely our mindsets change, and we run by different mindsets every day. But now let's take this back again to the startup. You're starting your journey. You're very positive. You're confident about yourself. And then the first event, bad event hits you, like the one that we just talked about in the early story. Would that make a permanent deformation in your mindset? And then you become just negative and sour about everything behind, around you? Or now you take your time, as you mentioned, Steve, you're human, you need to anyways absorb it, understand it and then respond. But your mindset goes back to the positive mindset or abundance mindset, whatever that you want to really have as your second nature. And then you keep going on with that positive mindset. So being intentional about that whole process, breaking it down to what does it mean to have right mindset? What does it mean to have resiliency in general? And then being intentional is really important. And there are many tactics. Actually, I talk and strategies to do that, to achieve this, or at least to get closer to that. And I talk about it a lot in the book. So, for example, I do this every day. I ask the 5 whys. So the 5 whys is first invented at Toyota, right, in Japan for quality control, and then many companies in the U.S. in the 80s started adopting that. You can still use the same thing to drive quality for your mindset. And I usually say, let's say I have now, something happened, and then I'm feeling negative, feeling bad, something's feeling sad, frustrated, angry. I take a pause and I ask myself, why am I feeling this way? Well, I can say, well, because this happened. Okay, but why this thing is making me sad? What's the bad thing about it? And then you start asking the next why, and then the next why. And then you can say, ask yourself, okay, at the end, what's in my hand that I can change that would alter that whole situation? Is there something that I can do? And then you start acting on that. So this is how you keep your mindset, you keep yourself in check always, and always keep, keep yourself aware of what is going on inside you, because we always have that loop, negative thoughts, negative emotions, and they keep feeding each other. And you need to stop that. And the best way is to ask those 5 whys.
And that's so easy to do, which is very cool what you did. And this is, I assume, in the book too. If you get the book, you're going to learn this skill set plus a bunch of other things. I love A Servant Heart makes it simple. And all this you talked about, what about leadership with your company? You tell your team, hey, 2 hours ago, we just lost our sale. What are they going to do? Oh, crap, we're screwed. I thought I was going to get a payday. Talk about, real quick, we're coming to the end here, how that changed your culture of your company by moving forward.
Oh, yeah, a lot. And actually, because we face a lot even before that failed acquisition. By the way, 2 weeks after that, we got LOI and we sold the company eventually. So we even got a deal that is 3 times better than the one that we lost. So everything went well. Now, how that changed our culture? There was actually that moment that I got the whole team together and I told them, look, we were talking actually at a certain point about the product market fit, and we were pivoting a lot between one product idea to another. And they were also questioning, well, when are we going to ever get to PMF, product market fit? When are we going to really, get that trajectory? I told them, look, there's certain things that there are lots of things that we cannot control about what is going on around us. I cannot control the timing of the market. I cannot control what my competition would do. I cannot even control the macros of the economy, of course, that will impact us. But if we take a look internally, as a team, as a company, what do we have control on? The first thing is our culture. And I told them, look, I cannot really guarantee to you or promise you that we're going to be $1 billion company. But there's one thing that I have control on, and I guarantee to you. And if I'm not doing it, I failed you. And that one thing is, I'm going to guarantee to you that you are going to learn something new every day. That's something we can control. That's something that we can have within our company. If you're not learning something new every day, raise the flag and tell me, hey, Mo, there's something not working here. I feel that I'm just repeating the same thing over and over because we're experimenting with new things every day, and that requires from us to learn something. It's okay. I usually would have the all hands at the end of each week, and I would tell them, what's the biggest learning that you got out of the week? What's the thing that you plan to change? What went well? What was your biggest challenge? How do you plan to change it next week? Next week problems need to be an upgrade of this week's problem. So that's a big deal, and this is again part of being as part of the conditioning. As you may call it mindset, you may call it spiritual, depending how you look at it. But just being aware of how much that you do not have control on. There is a lot that you not have control on. I think the only thing that most people ignore and they have control on is their responses to whatever is taking place around them.
And that empowers resilience too, because you can't control it, what you did. And empowerment, audience, what he's talking about is empowerment. Empower your employees, empower your competition, empower your collaborators, empower your prospect. Everybody, empower them with value like you did. Let's real quick, we're coming to the end, the free community you have. I'm super excited to talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the book that I have, The Inside Out Entrepreneur, is the first in the series. And I said, I really want to have as many entrepreneurs as possible to take that same perspective and grow with it and build their own unicorn companies. But the most important thing is not to lose themselves. To the contrary, I want them to grow as humans and and personally, even if their startups does not make the business goal. So I said, you know what, we're going to build a community that need to be done together. I built was Boundless Founder, the CEO. That's our website, and it's mentioned in the book as well. And the community again is all about three things. Number one is educate. Number two is inspire. To inspire everyone to really take that next step. Even if you're not an entrepreneur yet, you need to have the foundation and get inspired on strong foundation. And then the last thing is connect with everyone. You do that with the community. You connect with everyone. And those are the three core principles that the community is running on, and we run by every day. So I hope whoever is listening to us to just give it a spin. It's free. Boundlessfounder.co. And and I'm happy to have any conversation with any entrepreneur and hear their stories. The most important thing is the story, the human aspect.
Yes, I love it. We'll get the information out here real quick. One quick question about you. Nothing about business. I've got a table in a restaurant for you, table of 4, reserved. You'll sit in one of the chairs. Those 3 empty chairs that you have, who would you invite to talk to, whether dead or alive? And what food would you order for the table?
I don't know if I'm allowed to invite someone who is already dead.
Yeah, absolutely. We're bringing him back.
I would definitely first person that I would like to invite is Nelson Mandela, and I want to have him in the table and to teach us how he was able to build that patience and resilience while being in prison for more than 20 years, and still keeping an eye on his freedom and his people's freedom. This is super inspiring. Food does not matter as long as you have those guys. Even if there's no food, even if it's just a cup of water, and then you had those 10 or 15 minutes with them. I don't think that I'd be thinking about food, but I would definitely. I think I would order a universe of food that anyone would eat, which is something from the sea.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And 2 other guests you'd invite besides Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, I would also I would invite Bill Gates, and Bill Gates actually he inspired me twice. Once in building such a successful company, Microsoft, and innovative technology, and the other one is what he is currently doing, with trying to eradicate some of the diseases and his philanthropy just going almost everywhere and trying to make energy available for everyone, healthcare available for everyone, and education available as well for free. That's also something that I would like to ask him. What if he would pass over the baton to someone? What does he want to see 100 years from now?
Yeah.
And I hope that we can contribute to that. And the last person that I would have is I think Ali Khan. He's the founder of the YouTube and Khan Academy. And again, he has a very noble mission, is to make education available for everyone. And I really want to read his mind on how AI can take all of that and really accelerate his mission. This is he wrote a book about that, and I read a few pages of it. I haven't finished it, but I really want to see in through his eyes how the world is going to look like just 10 years from now, with the AI disrupting education and just educating kids in Africa, in India, in Egypt, where I come from. Those are things I think definitely, and this is where you ask the first thing you ask about technology. Man, this is where the technology gets really exciting. We're not
I agree.
only impacting, I would say, someone who can buy your product for whatever number of dollars. This is someone who's desperately looking for a better life, for a different life, and technology can definitely make a difference.
I love it. Well, thank you for being an incredible guest. Your vision is just powerful. How can people reach out? I know people are listening going, I got to get in this community or get the book. How can they find you?
Absolutely. Our website again is boundlessfounder.co, and they can find me definitely on LinkedIn, Mohamed F as in Frank Ahmed. There's lots of Mohamed Ahmed in the world, so I'm trying to just differentiate my name by having that F middle initial. So you can find me, and if you can Google me, definitely you can also find all my social media. I would love to again to connect, whether you're already an entrepreneur or just thinking about it, or you just finished your journey and you have something to share with everyone. I would love to connect and hear your story.
Thank you very much again. This has been so awesome. And audience, your homework at the end is subscribe to the YouTube channel because it's a gift. If you're listening and you're going, God, my friend's starting a business, he needs to hear Mo. Well, share the link, because I've seen podcasts change people's lives, whether it's mine or many others. And that's what I think the benefit of a podcast is the gift you can give others to serve and impact them, like I started the show with. So go ahead and subscribe, or any other podcast you like, subscribe to them. You get those new links and something resonates with you, share it away, because that's the power of this podcast and many others. With that being said, me and Mo want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.